guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. Today I am doing a wrap-up for Wanna Go, Wanna Stay by Maria J. Scott. This is a memoir of Maria's journey through domestic violence and how she escaped that. It's quite short and I really enjoyed it. I read this in 2 days, so it was a very quick read. Disclaimer, I'm gonna spoil this because I'm gonna go into details about this. So if you don't want to have any spoilers on these, just watch my wrap-up where I just give a very brief synopsis of the story and what I thought very briefly. But I'm gonna spoil these in details in order for me to explain what she went through. Also, I sometimes swear because I had a long day and I'm very pissed off with abuse today because of my daily job. I'm pissed sometimes. I get these days where it's very intense at my job and I come back home and I just want to throw things, say a bunch of swear words just to let the tension out. So because we're dealing with abuse in here, I might get a few swear words here and there. You're warned, I guess. And the plot of this is this woman in the 70s. She moves to Atlanta to start a new job and she has been having this boyfriend for around a year. When they get in a fight, he gets jealous and he punches her. And at the beginning when he punches her, she takes his umbrella and she starts hitting him back to defend herself, which was an amazing moment. And unfortunately things go downhill after that because she's adamant she wants to leave this man. Unfortunately though, she gets in contact with the reverend of a church group, and the reverend, who has already spoken with the perpetrator, Mark, the name is Mark in this case. The brilliant fucking idea of the reverend is, oh, you should get married. Someone just, your partner just punched you in the face. The solution is to get married to him, which is honestly something that it's so disturbing, so wrong on so many levels. I cannot even start thinking about that. Yes, we're talking about the 70s. Yes, we're talking when things were very taboo, where there were not the acknowledgement that there is today of domestic violence. So we have to keep that in mind. However, I honestly think anytime, maybe because I'm speaking nowadays, I just struggle to see how that would ever be considered a good idea, even in medieval time. Like, honestly, just like literally saying someone is coming in, robbing you, threatening a knife point, and then asking them to stay for dinner. It's honestly, I would just compare it at that. So she actually marries Mark. She goes with the advice that the remedy gave her. And this gives you an idea of how much power figures in our life are powerful, because this is a very brilliant woman. She was a computer programmer. She was someone who was like one of the first black women to ever attend a university. So she was absolutely brilliant, and you can see throughout the book on how she cleverly leaves her abusive husband later on, that she is very smart. So the fact that we believe in powerful figures, in this case a reverend, or maybe our parents, or maybe someone that we look up to, it's such a normal thing to do, and yet it can be very detrimental when it comes down to abuse. So she goes on, she marries Mark, and then there's another episode where Mark chokes her because again gets jealous, and she leaves him. She literally goes to the airport, takes a plane, go back home. And what happens is that after a few days of Mark calling her and convincing her, I get therapy, this will never happen again, she has a chat with a therapist. I really like the figure of a therapist, because the therapist told her, I cannot make you any promises. The fact that you go back home or not doesn't change the progress that Mark is gonna make. So therapy outcome is completely up to Mark. Despite what you might do or say, it's up to him if he's gonna take on board the therapy and what I can, help him with. So I cannot guarantee you. I'd suggest you to stay away from him for a bit longer, give him more time, making him start therapy, and then you go back home. Unfortunately, she doesn't listen to this suggestion because Mark is very insistent, and there is a lot of job situation moving on, and she was staying at her parents. So that was a dumb choice. I'm sorry. It doesn't, making a dumb choice doesn't make you dumb in general. Absolutely. But she does make a dumb choice in that case because she was in love with Mark, or she thought she was, and she wanted to trust him that he would go to therapy. Because of their financial situation, Mark never starts therapy. And after a year or something of them being reunited and struggling financially, Mark gets jealous again, and out of the blue, because there was like a plumbing job done in the house or whatever, and a guy came around to do the job, he went mad and started punching her, and it's very brutal attack she's subjected to, and she ended up in the hospital. She managed to convince Mark to take her to the hospital where she can call her mother and tell her father who was coming down to discuss business with Mark, well, this actually happened, he hit me, I want to leave him for good, can you help me escape? And they do help her moving away. She finally separates him by the end of the book. She's back home with her parents, and I think she ends up marrying somebody else and having a life with them. So that was a happy ending. However, there is one point very disturbing. They're collecting her stuff from her house, and she's got a broken bone in her jaw. She's bruised, and her eyes are closed, and she's all literally a mess. And they collect things, and Mark comes back home while they're collecting the things, and Mark kind of says, oh, please don't go, I love you, and all of that. The parents kind of very kindly told him off, like, if that was my daughter, I'd kick that guy ass until he would ask to be locked up to save himself from me. So the parents took this very well, compared to what I've done. And there is a point where they're leaving, and her younger brother just holds out his hands to him and says to him, you will always be my brother-in-law, which I found, she recognized that's problematic, but that's so fucking disturbing. Like, you're young, but you're still a moron for even saying that. I wish it was more addressed. I wish there was a point where she'd have a good conversation with the brother and said, what the fuck, like, why did you thought that was okay? Why did you thought, holding the hands and say, you're still my brother-in-law was okay? And with that, I meant to add that it's very important that if you have other men in your life, your brother, your son, whether it is that you have a discussion about what is violence, what domestic violence look like, and kind of have that conversation and kind of say, why did you do, for example, that? Why do you think that was okay? Why do you think he was still your brother-in-law? Keep asking why, and examine their beliefs, because you don't want them one day to go and be abusive. It doesn't mean that they're gonna hit their partner, whether abuse can have many shapes and forms. So the fact that a man defends another man when the other man is being abusive, that's very problematic and it is a warning sign. So when you've got somebody else in your life and they don't understand the abuse, or they say things that are problematic, just honestly sit down with them, if it's a possibility, and just break down the abuse and break down their beliefs, and keep asking questions until you get to the core of their belief, and question that, challenge that, because that's how you change things. If you can make them see how silly or how disruptive or abusive their own words are, if you make them realize that for themselves, that's where you make a change. So you can go and tell them, oh, what you did was wrong, don't do it again. It's not going to be as effective as you breaking down their own beliefs and making them come to the realization on their own, with your help, that what they said is problematic. And you do that by having long conversations and breaking down beliefs and getting to the core of their beliefs, and keep asking why. But why do you think that? Why? And then making comparisons. But if this was happened to your friend, or if you were in her positions, what would you think? So keep challenging, because that's how you change things. It's not enough saying this is wrong, stop it. I wish it was. Unfortunately, usually change doesn't come that easy. I liked these because it was short, and it was very much, she was very active in all of this. She actively escaped him, although she does go back to him a couple of times. She doesn't take the abuse. So as soon as the abuse starts, she leaves, and by the third accident she's gone. Bye-bye, divorce and all of that. So that was very nice to see that, the abuse didn't have to go on for a long time. Yes, she had to be brutally assaulted, which was horrible, but she came out of that and she lived through, because she was so strong that she escaped quite quickly then. And I think it is also a good example on how jealousy might work, and how domestic violence, where the partner gets jealous without any fucking reason to be. It's well illustrated in this, how jealousy in this relationship works, and it's totally nonsensical. And I totally suggest these. Less layered than other stories I heard. It lasted way less than other stories I heard. It lasted probably around 2 years max. and it's pretty fast-paced. Things happen and she acts on it, so it was a refreshing side of things. It's a good warning about how jealousy, when it comes down to abusive relationship, might work and what it might lead to and what it looks like. So I definitely agree that I'd recommend. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care. Ciao.